first, let's get a good crop on this. I'm probably going to want to do this for either Instagram or like a portrait picture. I think that's pretty good. And then we're going to go into our light. We need to raise our exposure just a tiny bit. Our shadows need to come up so we can actually see his face. And then drop the highlights down a little bit. The whites, the blacks, if we darken it just a tad bit, then that can really add a bit of punch to it. And our colors, let's add some vibrance, just kind of accentuate that beautiful brown color. In our effects, if we go into dehaze, and then we're just going to do that a little bit, clarity. I think if we go in the plus, that will work. Let's add a little bit of vignetting just to really accentuate what the focal point of the picture is. In our details, let's just throw up some sharpening. Let's throw up some noise reduction. Optics, throw on chromatic aberration, and then we're gonna hit it with our mask. If we do a brush, and we're gonna come in here and we're just going to take his eye because it's just still really dark. I think that we should just kind of bring that up. Not to the point where obviously it looks bad, but at least to the point where his eye is somewhat visible, even when it's zoomed out, you know? And then we have our before and after. I think it's adds a little bit of punch to the picture. This is our red-bellied woodpecker for some reason. He doesn't seem to have a red belly, just a red head, but I don't name the creatures. We just drop our exposure and we'll drop our highlights. And you can see that it's really changing the color. I want him to be more dim. Our shadows, let's lower them. It's not doing a whole bunch, but does a little bit. Our whites, we can bring that up. Our blacks, let's bring it down. Our color, let's bring in our vibrance. And we're really gonna make his head pop. Obviously not all the way, but just a smidge. Saturation, just a smidge. Our effects, if we throw on some dehaze, put on a little bit of clarity. In our details, let's just go into sharpening. Remember to keep sharpening under 30. Our noise reduction, our color noise reduction, and that is our beloved woodpecker. This is our before, this is our after. And if we take our little baby blue jay here, the picture kind of seems washed out to me. So I think I'm going to drop the exposure, drop the highlights, darken the shadows, the whites. I think we're gonna bring the whites up. That's really gonna make the color of his fur, like the white, stand out. The black parts, we're gonna do that. We're gonna bring our vibrance up to really make the blues and the greens pop. We can take our saturation just a little bit up. Our effects, we can throw on a little bit of vignetting. It's always fun, why not? Dehazing, just a little bit. And then our clarity, just throw a little bit on there. Not to 100, obviously, but I think around there would be pretty nice. Go into details, let's bring up the sharpening, keep it under 30. Noise reduction, sure. Color noise reduction, that seems to look pretty good. And honestly, I think that picture is looking a lot better. So we have our before and our after. That is a world of difference. And then for our last picture, I'm thinking, well, let's level it. Let's zoom in a bit. This picture, I didn't even realize that I had taken it. It happened so quickly. But I think our exposure, our highlights are just a little too bright. Our shadows, let's just bring them up. Our whites, yeah. This blue jay looks a little bit more dirty than the last one. He's kind of gray, which is kind of weird. Needs to take a bath, I think. Our color, if we go into vibrance, let's just make that pop. Our saturation, a smidge. Effects, I'm a sucker for vignetting, I'll be honest. Dehazing, just a smidge. Clarity, just a little bit. I think in our details, if we're gonna bring up sharpening, make sure to keep it under 30, as usual. Our noise reduction, our color noise reduction, and then go into the optics, flick those two on, and I think that's pretty good. And you go from this to this. And I think that's it for today, honestly. If you want your pictures edited by me, you can send them to the email in the description.